46-foot roof height.
There's no other reason for that, is there?
Yeah, I think it is related to the gym. I think we could do a design that's a little shorter if we need to, still be in the Gothic style, but I think it does enhance it architecturally, makes it more beautiful. It does.
Well, I could say something. For example, the Hamilton Loeb Center that has a completely different design. It's a modern design, but yet that exceeds this building's height by a couple more feet. And part of this is the width of these boxes too, and the school itself. I mean, then you have with that kind of a slope, it's going to be taller, and with the gym, there's a truss structure that you have in addition to the minimum height to the bottom of the lights, and so that's part of it.
But a gym of that height, if you have, so you don't have a flat roof on it. You know, a lot of high schools have flat roofs on their gyms. I mean, you could have a regulation-sized gym with a flat roof that would potentially not exceed the 35 feet. Then.
Yeah, if you like flat roofs.
Oh, I don't. But I mean, that's not the question we're asking, unfortunately. And then the design of the rest of the building is the same height, again, simply so it looks right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scott, could you address any floodplain issues there?
Yeah, we are in the floodplain in a portion of it where the bridge goes. Obviously, that would make sense that is in a floodplain, and the roundabout also is in that area. We're working on right now. We're modeling the floodplain to flow through the bridge so that there's no rise in the floodplain. But the area of the structures are outside of that floodplain area. There's a portion of the road that will just be raised up above the floodplain, so that if there were any flooding, the road would still be wide open and fully usable.
So the area where the structures are, they didn't need to be raised in elevation?
That's correct. The structures are well out of the floodplain area.
Great.
Other comments from the board? I have a couple of questions. I'd like to return to the building height question. If you designed, and I guess this is for Mr. Olson. Mr. Olson, if you designed the gymnasium and related buildings, and probably the church when it comes along, you would be able to meet any minimum height requirements for tournaments and that kind of thing with a 30-foot tall building, would you not?
I'm not sure 30 feet. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to construct a building.
What do you believe would be the minimum height for that you could construct a gymnasium that would meet tournament requirements on that flat area, mind you?
I can't answer that exactly off the top of my head.
Okay. Can you justify 46 feet?
Well, I might be able to step in here too. Along with the lighting, you also have mechanical. And to have mechanical, yes, you could probably get some of the mechanical up on the roof. You'd still exceed the height limit, but it would also look very industrial. And I don't believe the neighbors would like to see an industrial prison-looking complex out there.
Oh, I'm sure they wouldn't. But I think that there are other design solutions that you could consider, and one of them is underground.
Well, if we do get underground, the further we go, there is water table issues. We would definitely want to be above that and not get into a situation where we are running sump pumps all the time just for a building height reason.
And I had another question. Actually, it was for you, Scott, about the roundabout question. Where is the source that tells us that people love roundabouts? Can you point that?
No, and I don't want to say people love roundabouts. I say people can get used to roundabouts.
we can get used to a great deal of things, but.
But no, they are safer. There are studies. The Federal Highways Administration does have a number of studies.
Could you cite a couple? I mean, just give me one.
Well, if you just go to the Federal Highway Administration website, you can type in roundabouts, and they'll give you the statistics. And
You know, I've done that, and what I find on that is not a chorus of acceptance, but it works well in certain areas and not so well in other areas. I'm not sure this is one of those areas, is I guess what I'm concerned about.
And to a point, we wanted to do, as much as staff recommended. We are trying to get this project off the ground and going. We're not trying to make waves or argue with staff. Personally, I believe the roundabout is appropriate, and staff does also. But I'm not.
So are you telling us basically that this was really staff's idea?
That's correct.
Thanks. Well, that
Ask
clears that
another
one up.
question. May I ask another question?
Go ahead.
It's kind of a follow-up. I like roundabouts too, but other than cost and the moisture issues you're talking about, are there impediments to having the floor of the gym be below grade? Like significant impediments? I mean, I recognize that moisture concerns will be more significant.
The flooding would be the primary concern, just because you start getting down to the same level as the stream, and then you're running into that issue. We could raise the site up,
Right.
So that the ground would be at the finished floor elevation, but it kind of defeats the purpose. The elevation, if you were just to take the elevation of the floodplain and compare it to the top of the roof, it's going to be the same height as
Right.
what
And I'd add you also run into a lot of issues with the wood court floors, and a lot of moisture problems can do big damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the venting would come up as far as the heating and the cooling if you come from underneath the ground. Most gyms that I've been in, and I've been in a lot of gyms, is the venting is in the above lights where the heat and air conditioning come out, and not in the ground. I'm not sure where you would put the vents on the basketball court out the basketball court.
Other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much.